I go, his gaze follows.
Arbaal the Undefeated. Beyond the World's Edge Mountains to the north, Arbaal traverses the Skull Road, forever seeking the next worthy battle to wage in Khorne's name. So he starts way up here, not too far away from where Tamarkon is. Arbaal is one of the most devoted servants of Khorne, gifted with the power of the dreaded one-handed axe known as the Destroyer, in recognition of his staunch devotion. Such a reward is not given to just any champion, but one that has achieved much greatness and favor under the Blood God's ever-leering gaze. To such champions, however, also belongs Khorne's most uncompromising scrutiny. Should Arbaal falter, the magnitude of such a failure would cause him to lose all favor with the Blood God, rendering him as unremarkable amongst other demonic aberrations as he was remarkable in triumph, and perhaps worse. Over 3,000 years of overwhelming battlefield dominance have made that prospect unthinkable, both for him and his enemies, whose wits literally fail them in searching for a way to bring him down. So you can just imagine him and Gorbad. Like, how would Gorbad try to figure out how to defeat Arbaal, since apparently Arbaal can't be beaten even by, like, the smartest and cunning of enemies. So he starts off with Chosen Warriors, Chaos Warriors, Skull Crushers, Flesh Hounds, and a Blood Shrine. Has access to the Challenges of Khorne, allowing Arbaal to seek out difficult battles to increase Khorne's favor and gain various rewards. Minus 10% upkeep for non-demonic units. Construction cost minus 50% for mortal military and defense buildings, faction-wide, and minus 50% construction time. Global recruitment duration minus 1 turn for all units in his army. Weapon strength 10% for non-demonic units. Hellblade for Chaos Warriors, Chosen, Chaos Knights, and Skull Crushers. And the Gaze of Khorne. Moderate magical damage, severe disruption to enemy formations, and strong versus multiple combatants. So just as a reminder, this is the free Legendary Lord that they added for this patch. He is not included in the DLC. He doesn't have to be. He's just simply included in the game for free now. I'm pretty sure he won't have an intro here, a cutscene intro, since Epidemius didn't get one, so I doubt they're going to give one for Arbaal. I'll be pleasantly surprised if there is a cutscene about to play here, but if not, I'm just not really expecting one. I'm just curious about his mechanics. And, of course, how he benefits from the changes to the faction. Remember, Kugath benefited a lot from the changes to the Nurgle faction. It wasn't just Tamarkon and Epidemius that benefited from it. Kugath benefited from it a lot as well. Yep, no cutscene.
The Destroyer of Khorne ensures his enemies are naught but blood-soaked dust!
Arbaal the Undefeated wanders the world in search of epic battles, traveling vast distances to seek out the challenges of Khorne to gain his favor, benefit from his boons, and ultimately avoid his certain wrath. Of all the warrior heroes of Khorne, there are few so devoted to gaining his favor as Arbaal, who has dedicated his life to battle as his sole purpose. Gain from winning battles, dealing greater amounts that can be spent instantly traveling challenges. Okay, so we unlock this after we gain 5 favor. Okay.
Truer to our nature! My loyalty bids me to do better!
Cultist of the Blood God, I will send them into further!
Arbaal the Undefeated! The mission at hand! I must!
You get to take care of this whole area of ogres here right from the beginning. Okay. This should be a relatively easy win. They've only got Noblars, a couple of Ogre Bowls, and I forget what those are called. The Prowlers? I see that, I'm like, oh, they have like lions or wildcats or whatever. And I'm just forgetting what they're called. Saber Tusk Packs, that's what they are called. Okay.
Arbaal the Undefeated! You! Together! Warriors of Khorne! His eye is ever upon me! Would you draw it to yourselves? If so, be worthy!
I like how they kind of brought back the speeches for the generals. It's very quick and very brief at the beginning. You don't get like an actual cutscene, you just hear it. But it is cool that there are times where you hear your faction, the lord you've chosen, give kind of a speech there. I think it's cool. Oh my goodness, that lava effect. Of course, I'm not playing on the greatest of graphic settings, so... I like how this lets me know, oh, there are these things going on here as well. The Totem of Endless Bloodletting.
Older than empires!
I'm trying to remember...
Arbaal the Undefeated!
Oh, that's right, it's Alt. That's what it is.
With dreaded purpose! Destroy them! I feel his regard! Slaves to darkness, where chaos commands! War!
No! I'm losing my flesh hounds! No!
I rise, armies fall. You are no more.
Well, I lost one of my flesh hound units.
Bunch of scaredy cats.
I like how he's just running like, "Ooh, I'm getting out of here!" Get those bulls. Blood for the blood god! And now the Noblars! This is one of the things I don't like about having these chaos. They're so slow. These Chaos Warriors. Noblar's just gone flying. Ah! Whee! I actually thought those Fleshhounds could take on that Saber Tusk pack. I was wrong. And I lost a unit of Fleshhounds there. My bad. This is why I play on the lower difficulties. I'm not a good Total War player. I never have. I never will. That's why I also use mods. Just to make things even easier for me because I know I'm bad at the game. I don't want to be good at the game. I want to have fun with the game. I want to enjoy the game. There's a difference.
I do not need their flesh. You can have it.
Alright. Capture and occupy the Pillar of Skulls.
Arbaal the Undefeated! I am Khorne's judgment. Your demise draws near. I must. This will be a holdfast of Khorne.
Still don't have it unlocked yet.
An apt choice. Serviceable for a time.
I probably should have tried to add a couple of units to my army there before I ended the turn. Oh well. It's early on. It shouldn't be a big deal. I just realized we're also not too far away from where Archaon is. I imagine Archaon could be, especially on higher difficulties, Archaon could be a rough early fight. Like, there are certain places where, or certain... Depending on who you play, and on higher difficulties, certain early matchups can be a problem. Like, Kugath had the problem of Helmengorst early on for a while, until the recent DLC change basically fixed that.
Your fall is inevitable. I bring oblivion. Feast, my servants.
Alright. So now, we have the challenges of Khorne unlocked. Let's take a look at this. Khorne has marked 8 armies for Arbaal the Undefeated to challenge and prove his worth. Defeating an army in battle, thus completing a challenge, will provide Khorne's favor as well as other rewards. Challenges are split into 3 types. Worthy battles, which are easier, perfect challenges, harder battles, and ultimate bloodbaths, very difficult battles. Left-click a challenge in the list allows you to view its details. Challenges can also be selected by left-clicking them on the map. Once selected, Arbaal can travel directly to a challenge by spending some of Khorne's favor. Oh, wow. Arbaal can also return to his capital by selecting it on the map. Oh, so you know what this is? This is like, oh gosh, the Lizardman assassin. I forget his name at the moment, but he had this mechanic as well. This is basically that mechanic done for a Khorne unit, or a Khorne faction. That's, wow, because that was fun. Like, being able to travel around the map, defeat an army, and then travel back to your sanctum. He starts down here. That's where he is. In fact, I may see him just a moment here. Khorne's favor can also be spent on activating boons. These will provide Arbaal with powerful bonuses when active, but cost an amount of Khorne favor each turn that they are active. Oxyodal! That's what I was talking about, Oxyodal. Oxyodal has this mechanic as well, basically. And you can also see, like, the different, like, these icons showing, like, okay, this is a tough battle, this is a tough, perfect challenge, and then these are the ultimate bloodbaths. So, like, you can see, like, over here, we've got Be'lakor, we have Vlad von Karstein, we have Gorth the Cruel, part of the Servants of the Enclave. In fact, it looks like that's both of them, right? Yeah. And Sira Meotor. Okay. Then down here we've got Malagor. We have Oxyodal. Tehenon? I always forget how to pronounce him. And Lord Lozdik. The Wardens of the Living Pools, yeah. So we can travel there, defeat them, and then we get more favor back, and then we can just port right back to his capital. That sounds fun. So when we do those, we get some other things like Khorne's favor skulls, recruitment cost. And then here we can get some other boons here, like plus favor after completing a challenge, and plus favor, 1 favor after winning a battle. When fighting a battle, your army will start with tired. Oh, okay, so there is like a negative one here for some of these. When fighting a battle, the enemy will receive a significant stat increase. Khorne's Wrath army ability spreads corruption after 5 turns. For 5 turns after completing a challenge, spreads 8 Khorne corruption after winning a battle. Less upkeep, campaign movement range, and summons a cult after completing a challenge, and summons a blood host after completing a challenge. Okay, that's interesting. This could be a really fun campaign, actually. If it's as fun as the Oxyodal one was, yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. Okay, so it looks like that is mainly what is going on with Arbaal. Alright, so now let's go ahead and, now that we've looked at Arbaal, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other faction leaders and lords for the factions that were affected in this DLC. Let's go ahead and take a look at Skarbrand. So Skarbrand, these are basically the same, but now he has Gore Feast for Bloodthirster and Soul Grinder units, less upkeep for Bloodthirster and Soul Grinder units, skulls gained from kills 30%, and Rage Embodied. I'm grabbing my water bottle. Getting a little thirsty from doing all this talking. Love Propel.
Throughout this land in a tide of blood, Khorne commands it.
Man, I've got some really nice mods for Skarbrand. One of which actually helps fix his appearance. Because has it ever bothered you the way he holds his axes? Well, I found a mod that actually makes it where he holds them down here, the way he's kind of supposed to hold them. Also, there's a mod that also changes his appearance a bit to make it look a little better. So it looks like he does, of course, have the new Skull Throne mechanic. Okay, so he does have that. That's good to know. I'm just curious if any of his other stuff here changed. So it looks like Blood God's Vigor is like a new thing. that you can improve. Okay. Like, he can get a lot of camping after winning a battle, it looks like. The Vanguard deployment is still there. That's still funny. There's the Gore Feast. And Battle Healing Cap. Although, didn't he always have that before? And there's, of course, the Locus of Endless War. So as far as I know, I don't think they've changed too much when it comes to his abilities. I could be overlooking something, but... And then, of course, Slaughter and Carnage. I found a mod that also improves this. So I found a couple of other mods that really make Scarbrand even more fun and better. You remember when Scarbrand got nerfed? I found a mod that unnerfs him and brings him back to how he was when he launched. Remember how strong he was when this game launched? I found a mod that fixes that. It just undoes that. And then, of course, we love the Slaughter and Carnage one, right? Up to 100%. I found a mod that makes this 300%. So yeah, I found some mods that can make playing Scarbrand even more fun than before. If you thought it was fun before to watch him go into an army and just slaughter everything, yeah, there's some mods that can make it even better. Okay, so Scarbrand benefits from the new Skull Throne tree, but it looks like that might be it, except for maybe a couple little tweaks here and there.
As I hold Galmer...
Now, what about my boy Grimgore? Okay, replenishes campaign movement range after winning battle. I'm seeing this a lot. I think they gave this to quite a few extra lords here, because they realize how strong it is. Alright, let's check out my boy Grimgore. I won't check out every Greenskin Lord, but I'm just very curious about the main ones. We'll also take a look at Greasus as well to get a better idea as to how the changes to the Ogres also affects them as well. I found some other mods for Azhag as well that can be really fun for his campaign, where it basically enhances the idea about the crown he wears and about him having to deal with the Call of Nagash, and how also him basically embracing like necromancy and like the vampiric stuff actually can make the Greenskins not like him very much. Kind of an interesting like back and forth going on there as well.
Let's give Gork a show! Get smashing!
Okay, so he does not have the tactics or plans thing. So he's probably going to benefit from the new tech tree somehow. Like, I'm sure the tech tree is going to be a benefit for a number of the other, like, lords here. I'm just curious also if they did anything with his skill tree. Thirst for Battle replenishes campaign move range after winning a battle. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was not a thing with Grimgore before, but hey, sure. That sounds fun. Alright, so we don't have to look at the other Greenskin Leaders because I'm sure it's the same thing applies to them, that they don't get the tactics thing. If they did, I would have looked at those, but since they don't, you know. Oh well.
In the name of
now for Greasus. Okay, so yeah, he does have a new mechanic. Also, it looks like Scrag also has some changes. Gains powerful rewards based on the number of active offerings to the Maw. So, depending on how many offerings to the Maw you have active, he actually gains some power. That's interesting. More meat gained after battles. And offerings to the Great Maw are reduced by 50%. But Greasus now has his own thing called Tyrant's Demands, enabling special campaign actions. So let's take a look at that. And we may go ahead and briefly look at Scrag just so we can see what those powerful rewards are. But it sounds like Grease has actually got his own new mechanic. Gracious Gold Tooth. Is shockingly obese.
You know why we're here. Meat, loot, it all belongs to us.
Might! Loot! Spend your hoarded wealth on Tyrant's demands, allowing the use of treasury to carry out unique targeted actions befitting the Over Tyrant. So of course he still has the starting buildings here. The Great Hall of Graces.
Ogre Firebelly. Such trinkets I will uncover.
Doesn't have a camp up, as usual. Yeah, you gotta set up the camp first. Alright, the Tyrant's Demands. The Tyrant's Demands panel allows Grease's Goldtooth to use money to carry out 8 unique campaign actions. Oh my gosh, is this the mechanic they just gave to Karl Franz in the Empire? Because that's kind of awesome. Each action can be used multiple times, but it is limited by a cooldown period. With a action selected, the info panel will show you its effects, what target is required, and its cost and cooldown period. Once a valid target is selected, you just have to select and you have the required treasury. The button will become available to complete the action. So we have Sticky Fingers. Some things money can't buy. For such things, the Horde Master simply pays to have them pilfered. Steal a random magic item or ancillary from the target army's lord if one is available. We just take it from him. Like, that's mine now. Rough him up. Gracious claims he's too rich to walk, sometimes using his riches to harass enemies without even bringing himself to battle. Causes attrition and campaign movement disabled on an enemy army. Oh man, that's funny. Veteran Wages. There is a tyrant alive that pays as well as graces, who pays his ogres to kill for the job they want, not for the job they have. Increase all units' ranks by 1 in the target army. Overtime. The ogres of Goldtooth's tribe know when the over-tyrant pays for overtime. They might be marching to the ends of the earth. Instantly replenishes the movement range of the target army. Oh my gosh. It's like you go with the full length of your movement range and then you just replenish it like that for 5,000 gold. Okay. Wow. Money laundering. To the over-tyrant, building a legitimate business simply means starting a racket that doesn't directly involve violence most of the time. Establishes a building in the target settlement that siphons its income. Oh man, some of these are really funny. Stomping Grounds. The over-tyrant always knows a good extortion racket when he sees one. Plus 250 meat to an army belonging to you. Okay. We can just go ahead and be like, hey, here you go, Goldtooth. More meat! Ah, now we got 300 meat, boys! Bribe. The over-tyrant is wont to use his wealth to exploit the greed of his foes because everyone has their price. This spans all non-character units within the target army. Huh. That's interesting. Wait, so I can select this and then they'll just go away? Ha, that's funny. And then buyout. Grease's rampant success has not diminished his all-consuming desire to conquer everything he sees, sometimes just by throwing gold at it. Purchases the target settlement, transfer to your you can just buy the settlement for yourself for 25,000 gold. That's hysterical. That's really funny. It's like, alright, this is mine now. Bye. That's really funny. Oh, man. Alright, yeah, I may have to have some fun playing another Greasus campaign, because the Ogres look like they're going to be definitely more fun to play. Especially Greasus with these mechanics. That's really, really funny. Alright, so that's his new unique mechanic, and of course he benefits from the new tech tree, and of course the bounties. Probably doesn't have the contract system, but he does have the bounty system, so... Now let's quickly take a look at Scrag and see what powerful rewards he can gain from the offerings to the Maw. He is, of course, the prophet of the Great Maw.
Bring me to my men.
The Butcher.
The Butcher.
Sooner or later, everything ends up in the Great Maw.
Increase the number of active offerings to the Great Maw across your armies to receive powerful faction-wide bonuses granted by the Path of the Butcher, including unique abilities for Scrag. Huh.
Scrag, slaughter, servant.
Oh, okay, up here. Path of the Butcher. In worship of their vile, pulsating god, the disciples feed their maw cauldrons with offerings of bloody meat for the tremendous power it brings in return. The Path of the Butcher grants increasing benefits for Scrag's faction and army based on the number of active offerings to the Great Maw across all armies. You can enable new offerings via each army's offered to the Great Maw panel. So, like, if I went over this when we talked about Maneater. So, if we have 1 to 3 up, we're a follower, which gives us wins and magic cost minus 5% for all spells in all armies, and meat gain from battle is increased by 10%, and ability arm number of uses plus 1 for Gorger Onslaught faction leader. Feeder. Simmering Pot. Huge stationary effect, good for versus multiple units and good against armor. And Gorger Onslaught plus 1 use. Minus 15% for all spells, meat gained. Upgraded Boiling Cauldron. And then the last one, Prophet of the Maw 10 plus, which is minus 25%, plus 50% meat gained, and Boiling Cauldron for all armies. Gorger Onslaught upgraded for more Gorgers, and plus 1 for Gorger Onslaught. Okay. So that's the unique thing for Scrag, it looks like. Okay. And then, of course, we have this as well. So, yeah, the Ogres definitely seem like they're going to be more interesting and fun to play. And the fact that Maneater, Scrag, and Greasus all have their own unique mechanics makes playing as each of them more appealing nowadays. That's good to know. And, in fact, I'm curious. I'm curious about something. The thing I'm curious about is whether or not these carried over to the other mode that they're not touching anymore, because you can still play this if you want. You can still go over here and play as, say, Scrag. Okay, so it looks like you can have those if you wanted. That's interesting. I wonder how that would actually change up how that campaign plays. But at the same time, I mean, unless you're someone who's never played this game before and you're picking up for the first time, you're not going to have much reason to play this unless you actually want to experience this for the first time. But it is going to make playing these campaigns a little bit more, I guess, interesting to play. But other than that, I would say just, you know, go ahead and have a bit more fun in Immortal Empires over here instead. So, that's, as far as I know, that's basically it when it comes to the changes. Now, who do I think is going to get affected in the next DLC? Well, obviously, Slaanesh is the only Chaos God faction left that has not been affected yet. So, the question is, who are the other factions that will get affected? Now, there are some factions that we are wanting them to give a focus on. For example, a number of us are wanting them to really help work on the vampire counts and make them better, as well as focus on the various different bloodlines. Like, there should be, like, there's a mechanic that some are wanting where they focus on the actual, like, bloodlines of the various different vampire counts. Not to mention, also, there's a certain guy over here in Bretonnia, the Red Duke, which is, like, he's there, but they've never really done anything with him. He's just there, you know? And it feels like they should do something. And it feels like I think if they do a DLC where they get to focus on the vampire counts, I think the Red Duke should now become an actual playable faction here. Like, amongst, like, the Legendary Lords for the vampire counts, have the Red Duke here. There are mods that allow you to be able to select the Red Duke as a playable faction. Make it official in the game. Add the Red Duke and have a new mechanic that focuses on the vampire count bloodlines. And I'm not talking about the blood kiss thing. I'm talking about something else that really focuses on the vampire count bloodlines. Lord Master Sotek went into more detail about this, and I agreed with him entirely. When he went into detail about it, I was like, that sounds fantastic. I would love that. The other that we want... Now, I still enjoy the Skaven. They're still one of my favorite factions to play. But there's a specific guy here that we're still waiting to get added here. A specific Legendary Lord. You guys know which one I'm talking about, right? You have to know exactly who I'm referring to. You know the one. The one that accidentally summoned Scarbrand. That made Queek go, oh crap, I'm out of here. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, we want him as a playable lord as well. So if you want to give a touch-up to the Skaven, that's fine, even though I don't necessarily think they need one, even though I would say if you want to give a touch-up to the Skaven, make the Undercities better. Like, there's a whole series of mods that actually tries to focus on making the Undercities worthwhile, more actual worthwhile. Go ahead and do that. Make the focus on the Undercities and just add him as well. That lord I'm talking about. And let's see, who else did we want? Oh, Bretonnia. Yes, please for the. Oh, yes. So there's, yeah. Please make Bretonnia better. I can't stand playing Bretonnia. They're one of my least favorite factions playing the game. I don't have any fun playing with them. By all means, like, also give Alberic an actual voice actor. He just has a generic voice actor. Give him a unique voice actor and give a full rework to the Bretonnia faction. And then also, I think we were also wanting for them to do something with the Demons of Chaos, to add someone here other than Daniel. Sotek still very much wants Be'lakor to be just part of the Demons of Chaos rather than the Warriors of Chaos. And I agree. It kind of has him be... He seems out of place here in this category here. Just move him over to Demons of Chaos and just... Here's the funny part. The Changeling acknowledges this. When you play as the Changeling, you can actually see Be'lakor listed as a Demon of Chaos as a possible form you can take. It's really funny. And that just kind of like tilted some of us, including Sotek when he saw it. It was like, really? You're acknowledging that here with the Changeling, but you're not acknowledging it here? I think Kislev also could use a bit of a touch-up, even though they did get that with the Mother Ostankia DLC. I don't know. They are fine still, but they could use a bit more, you know? And then the Norska. Oh, please. Please make the Norska better. Now, I personally do have a bit more enjoyment than others when it comes to playing Norska because I love playing as Throg. And also there's a mod that actually gives him a better, proper voice to represent the actual character he is, as opposed to how they portray him here. Like, they actually have a DLC where they give him a smart-sounding voice because he's supposed to be one of the smartest, like, trolls to ever exist. But he's not portrayed that way in this game. So we had to get a mod to actually have a legit-sounding, smart troll voice for Throg, you know? But Norska also needs a rework. They definitely need a faction rework. So Bretonnia and Norska are like the two big ones that need like a full faction rework. We want Red Duke and, gosh, I forget his name, that's Skaven. The Grey Seer Skaven who accidentally summoned Scarbrand by mistake. He was trying to summon a powerful demon to help save them against like some enemies, and he accidentally summoned Scarbrand. He was like, "Oh, whoops, my bad." That's a really funny story in the lore. But yeah, those are like the main ones that we're kind of hoping for in the next DLC. If they want to include that in the Slaanesh DLC, or if they want to do that as a DLC after the Slaanesh one, that's entirely fine. They may also give some love to the High Elves when they do the Slaanesh, because of how much of a connection Slaanesh and the High Elves have with each other. But, you know, now, I would say that there's probably not that much connection here with Khorne compared to the Greenskins and the Ogres, but, I mean, it would be like, if you're trying to get them to connect with each other, like, there was a decent connection between Nurgle as well as the Empire and, the dwarves in that regard, especially when it came to Epidemius and Epidemius and Elspeth. But yeah, you know, those are factions that definitely need some love and some attention from Creative Assembly. So until that comes about, I will see you guys next time for that. Hope you guys, for those of you who get the DLC, hope you enjoy it.